I've removed all clicky pens from my vicinity because on the last one I clicked a lot, which is what you did on the first one, so I can see how you did it.
Yeah, same. That's what I've done now. Just taking away temptation from myself.
Yeah, I don't know why I had a pen. I didn't need a pen. I'd written down all my notes already.
I think it's just 'cause you're just static talking for a long time. I think it's what makes it difficult not seeing each other a little bit. Like, it's not the end of the world, but I think
I miss your
that
face.
makes you more likely to fidget. Yeah. But it was something to focus on, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas you're not really focusing on anything visually, it's just listening and talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do this shit.
Welcome to Mammon Podcast. Mike and Mike on Mike. The podcast where we talk about our top fives. Our first top five podcast was about games. Our second was about movies. Our third was about TV shows. And our fourth should have been about heroes. But we switched things around a little bit and we've gone with board games this week instead. As always, keeping it professional here at Mammon. Mike, how are you? How's your days been since I've last spoke to you?
Yeah, I've been off work because, I finished off a load of night shifts and I've been off and it's been quite nice just pottering around the house, to be honest with you. Not had that in a very long time. How about yourself?
Just been going with the flow with the education.
Yeah, all changing from day to the next, isn't it, for you guys?
Yeah. It keeps it interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
That's the polite way of putting it, I think. But no, yeah, it's been good. As usual, not much because of COVID.
Yeah,
I wonder what number episode will be when we're no longer mentioning COVID. That would be interesting.
Yeah, and we're actually able to talk about things we've done that aren't work or sat inside the house.
Yeah. Like, we went to a restaurant or a pub.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah, we'll be able to do top 5 restaurants when that happens.
Or it'll be like top 5 anxieties now that we're allowed to go out.
Yeah, being near people, what the hell?
I mean, I don't miss town. I hate town centres.
And I don't miss people just being right up behind you in queues and stuff like that.
Mine was as well.
It's pleasant.
I'm a pretty quick walker, particularly when I'm on my own. So I hate town when you've got people going slowly.
Yeah, and you've got to dodge around them.
Yeah, you know, like cute old couples that still hold hands at like 90, but they're going 1 mile an hour. And it's like, you've got to awkwardly wait for the gap to get past them.
Yeah, it's not fun, that.
So, as I said, we've gone back on our promise. We were going to do top 5 heroes, but I felt, I don't know about you, that I just needed a bit more time. I didn't feel like the ones I picked were good enough. Yeah, I struggled
with my list. It seems like it should be a really easy topic, but it's actually surprisingly difficult. Because trying to get into the nuances of why they're a hero and why you personally consider them a hero, it's quite difficult to try and justify it. So we want a bit more time to sort of research the topic and come to you guys with actually good answers for why we picked these people.
Yeah, I think as well, ones I'm passionate about, like, you know, Luke Skywalker's an obvious choice of a hero, but I don't like him that much.
No, I genuinely would argue with you if you'd picked him.
Well, luckily, there's one we both know is off the list. Spoiler alert for when that show eventually comes.
He's just a whiny, spoilt brat.
So this week, obviously, like I say, we talk about top 5 board games. I think it's going to be quite interesting because movies, games, and TV shows, we're on a similar level, I'd say, of knowledge, experience, whatever you want to call it. Whereas this one's quite interesting because I think we fit both sides of it. You're more of the, maybe not
obsessive.
Hardcore. Yeah. Like I say, what's good about you is even though you've not played a lot of the top games, you've done a hell of a lot of research about them, so you would know about them as well. Whereas I'm coming at it from an angle of a board game novice who's trying to get into more hardcore games, I guess.
Yeah. But this topic was actually suggested by a friend of the show, Charlie. So a shout out to him for suggesting it.
Thanks, Charlie. Right, I went first, didn't I, last time? I think.
Yes.
So
yes, you did. I say that confused. I've just finished editing the last one, so I definitely know you went first.
Right, so number 5. Let's get into it then. What have you gone for and why?
So I've gone with a game that it wasn't the first game that got me into board games, or actually I would say it was the first game that got me into board games, but it wasn't sort of the first big game that I'd played board game wise. But when I was at university, one of my old housemates, he was obsessed with board games. He loved them, and that's what got me into them. And there was one point I remember when we went to the first board game cafe that opened up called Meeples in Oxford, and it was brand new sort of experience at that time. No one had really heard of them. And we played a game called Munchkin, and that's the game I've decided to pick.
Nice.
It's a simple. Have you ever played it yourself?
No.
So what it is, it's a card-based game. Very simply, so the tagline for the game sums it up, and it's kill the monsters, steal the treasure, stab your buddy. So it's a Dungeons and Dragons parody type game.
Yeah.
And you sort of start at level 1, and you go through the game collecting items and or attacking monsters. So attacking monsters, if you beat them, you go up a level, and it's first person to level 10. But along the way, you encounter, you gain weapons and armor such as the horny helmet and the boots of butt kicking, and the enemies that you encounter are all odd sort of parodies such as the potted plant or the drooling slime. And I know there's like the level 20 is like plutonium dragon, and you're sort of working your way to beat them, but you can backstab your friends or enemies. You can get people to play that you're playing against to sort of team up and beat the bad guy together. It's just quite a fun little. It's quite an easy to learn game.
Important question.
Go on.
Did you win on that first attempt?
Oh, that's a good question. I probably didn't, only because I always find with some board games, some people explain the rules badly, and then suddenly bring out random bits of information. Oh no, you can't do that. I can do this though, and that allows me to go up to level 10 just in one go.
Did I forget to mention that when you had that card?
Yeah.
That reminds me of that episode of Friends where Chandler makes up that game to try and give Joey money, and then Ross thinks he's good at it, and he just starts bringing in new rules to win his money back.
Yeah. No, but it's a nice little game. It doesn't take, on average, it doesn't take that long to play. It's not rated that highly these days with board gamers. I think it's because, I know there's hundreds upon hundreds. Well, not I say hundreds upon hundreds. There's so many sort of
better versions of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, expansions and whatnot.
Oh right.
So looking here, I can see at least 100 sort of
Jesus Christ.
expansions of the first one. You got stuff you got Pathfinder, Munchkin, Warhammer, Zombies, Star, Rick and Morty. The list genuinely goes on for ages. So I think because of that, it's sort of not past its time, but people have become exhausted by it.
Yeah.
But because it was one of the first ones that sort of got me properly into board gaming, it's up there on my list.
Why is it called Munchkin? Or Munchkins?
Munchkin, I remember reading this a minute ago. So Munchkins are, in sort of role-playing terms, immature role-players.
Oh.
And they play only to win by having the most powerful character possible.
Okay.
So it's sort of based on the parody of that, because the idea of winning in this game is to have the most powerful character possible. Whereas sort of in role-playing, it's about sort of sometimes you've got to be a bit clever with your moves to win. It's not about necessarily being strong and powerful and just go and zap. And I don't know much about Dungeons and Dragons, but like that Goblin's Dead.
Yeah.
Sort of thinking more about, I can sneak up behind and that gives me that advantage.
So the idea of things being OP, overpowered, and
yeah.
But this is more, yeah, I get you.
But this one leans on that sort of what's the word I'm looking for? It leans on that concept.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good first choice.
Yeah, like I say, it's the guy who created it, Steve Jackson. He's done a lot of board games since, but this I think was one of his most popular and famous. And the illustrations on the card, they're quite funny as well. I think there's a card called the Duck of Doom, and you pick it up and you go down to level 1 again, because who would pick up a duck in a dungeon?
Yeah. I was desperately trying to think of a Jackson 5 joke then and had nothing.
Is that why he just went silent?
Yeah.
It's going to bug me now. I think we should pause the podcast here and come back in a second.
Our first manufactured joke.
Nah, I don't think we're not that clever.
No. I like it though. That's a good one. It's quite nice actually segueing, because my number 5 pick is pretty much identical reasoning for yours. So a board game cafe opened up in Derby called Alchemy, and like you, I'd never heard of one before. It was literally this pub, had 2 floors, so we'd heard a few things, people talking about it, and then me and a couple of friends started to go, and like I'd only ever played, your basic family board games when you're a kid.
Yeah, like Cluedo, Monopoly.
Yeah, exactly. Before then, like Rat Trap? Is that the board game?
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap was my favourite board game up until that point.
The game that took longer to set it up
than
it did to play it. And then the moment you went to go and release the Mousetrap, it never worked.
No. Well, went up there and it showed us this wall of games, and it was so intimidating, again, as someone who's only ever played like these family games. But luckily, they were all quite experienced, the bar staff. So he was like, "Look,
people in board game cafes, they tend to have that knowledge there. They're not sort of hired because they. I've always said people at board game cafes, they're not good cafe staff necessarily. Like you don't go in looking for the best hot drink or best sandwich. You go in there because they're experienced about the games that they're going to be talking to you about.
Exactly, and that's what it is. He said something like when the first, like I say, it wasn't long after it opened, and he said the owner had opened up for or paid the staff for like a month before they opened to just come in every day for their working hours and play as many board games as possible with each other and learn the rules and practice.
Yeah.
And he said...
I will say... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go on, you go.
No, I'll let you finish and then I was going to say a big shout out to the Board Game Cafe in Nottingham, though, Luderati, because I genuinely think all the staff know what they're talking about and the food is absolutely fantastic. It's some of the best cafe food I've ever had.
We'll try and get them.
A big shout out for them for having both the... good cafe, and they're great on social media, and they recommend that during lockdown they've been recommending like sort of print and play games to play just from the internet. They're a good cafe and they're passionate about what they do.
So the game that he recommended, because he said it was sort of a good game to look at, something that's a bit more complex but easy enough to understand, was Settlers of Catan.
Oh yeah.
Which was great. It's this really simple game where you essentially build. There's several ways to win. There's building the longest road, I think, or having the most resources by the end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I played it. It's one of the top board games pretty much of all time. But I only recently acquired it myself at Christmas, and we haven't yet to play it because
it's
obviously
3+ players, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult to play board games in lockdown.
Yes. Well. Like I said, more than the game itself, like although it was good, it's more that it opened up to a gateway of interest. So before I don't think we'd met before I'd played Settlers Catan. I know my friends are into board games, so none of the people that went there were. So we all enjoyed it. But I didn't really know anyone else who was into them. So it was sort of, I knew that I wanted or would like to play more board games that are a bit more complex. But didn't really know where to start, who to play with, etc., etc. And then when I met you, found out that you were really into board games, and I was like, oh, brilliant. So some of these games were introduced to me by you, so you'll know what some of them are.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For once, it's a bit different.
For those who don't know, I've probably got about 100 board games in my house. My wife isn't too happy about that.
Are you one of them, though? It's like, they'll be worth money one day, some of them, so I'll keep hold of them.
I've definitely got got a Risk from the 70s that I'm quite proud of having. Things like that, yeah, I would. I do like collecting them, thinking that I enjoy playing them, but maybe in the future, you never know, first editions of these games might be worth something.
So Settlers of Catan is, like I say, it's a game I've not played that much, but it opened me up to the idea of that board games could be more than just that sort of family, kid-friendly style of game, and is all the ones bar one after Settlers. So my top three I wouldn't have played and found without Settlers of Catan. So I think it was quite a nice way to start, a bit like yours, I guess.
I always say with Settlers, it's basically the Monopoly version of sort of the big games. So Monopoly seems to be the big family game. Catan seems to be the big sort of the big board game community games.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't know how to describe the sort of games that aren't like Monopoly, Cluedo.
I guess
they're all board games still.
I think I'd call them family games.
Yeah,
and I'd call the rest of them mature games, not necessarily in terms of content, but in terms of
this is a family game, Catan. You can easily play it.
But there's more weight to it, isn't it? I think that's a word they use, weight, for like how complex it is. And there's definitely a lot more rules than Monopoly. There's a lot more setup involved, but it's a more satisfying game.
Well,
I
it's
think because of
a
it.
trading and sort of resource collecting game, which sort of, if you go boil Monopoly down to the basic, it is that. So that's why I
Yeah.
think I described the two together.
Yeah, 'cause it
But
has similar mechanics, but it just
yeah,
maybe
Catan's a
does it-
better version of that, in my opinion.
and I think more skilled than
Yes,
Monopoly
you got
as
to
well.
think
I
a
think
lot
there's
more.
there's less elements of luck involved.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that's a really good choice, and I'm quite surprised I haven't got Catan on here, to be honest with you, because it is one of the top board games I've played.
I'm about to say now, if we do have any people listening who are like who are very knowledgeable about their board games, are not going to trust your opinion now. And ironically,
Yeah.
though I know very little, might trust mine more. Because I've gone with the classic.
Well, my next one is a very, very obscure game that I can guarantee barely anyone's heard of. But it's so with board games, you like to have that sort of mix of games that might take a while or party type games. And this one falls under the party type game. And it's a game called Illusion. And I got it about 2 years ago when I went back to visit some friends in Bristol. And I popped into a board game comic book shop and was just after a quick game that we could play like while people were arriving and waiting for everyone to arrive to actually start the bigger games. And all it is there's a pack of cards, I can't think how many, but it's about 100 or so, and they've all got various different patterns on them with different colours. And what you have to do is the first player lays down 3 of these cards and has to determine, so say so they put down 3 of these cards and they pick another card that tells them a colour, and they have to determine the order of most to less. So say it was red, which card has the most red in it and which card has the least red in it. And it sounds really like, what the hell is that? But I don't think any of us has had as much fun and got as so invested in the game as that. And sort of the next person then comes along and they can't move the previous 3 cards and they have to put a 4th one down and so on and so forth until someone challenges it. So you sort of got to be confident with the previous person's attempt to do your attempt, unless you challenge her and then you might lose or win. And it's, like I say, it sounds really dull when you're saying it, but I honestly would recommend it to anyone as a nice, quick 5-10 minute game that doesn't really cost that much either.
A question I didn't ask on for number 5,
Oh, go on.
but I want to ask for number 4 as well. For both those games you've picked so far, what's the minimum player count?
So Munchkin, I think, is 3 to 6 as
Yeah.
the players. And Illusion, I suppose it's 2 to infinite, really. There's any number of people that can play it. I'm pretty sure when, because we were playing it and people were arriving at my friend's house, and there was probably about 10 of us in total that ended up playing it. So it's one of those ones, and people just came in and joined in the game, and it's just a nice, simple, quick game to pick up and learn as well.
Nice.
Yeah, like I say, it's not one that has much to say about it, but I would recommend people searching it out because it doesn't cost much on Amazon, and it's also not rated that badly.
We'll have to play that then next time
Yeah.
we're allowed to meet up.
Yeah,
So there you go.
right. So you're number 4.
I think you'll hate me for this pick.
Go on.
So my number 4 is a game I fucking hate. But I couldn't not pick it when talking about top 5 board games because I think the fact I hate it deserves to be here. I think part of I think what makes this game so popular and successful is those intangibles you can't predict when you're making a board game, and that's how angry it makes people, and that's Monopoly.
Yeah.
I mean-
After literally discussing the previous round how Catan's a better Monopoly.
Yeah, and then I've then placed Monopoly above it. But yeah, I mean, what other board game have you played where you've seen a family member pick up the board and throw it everywhere and go, I'm not playing anymore?
So it's quite funny with Monopoly. I hadn't actually played it until about university because
What is wrong with your parents? I feel
No.
like this is the next time that
No,
your
but-
parents haven't let you do something.
this is down to my parents as well. So they brought it for me for a Christmas or a birthday, but then refused to play it with me because they hated it because it was so argumentative and it went on for so long. So I was like, thanks for buying me a present that you're never going to play with me. So I didn't play it until university, but now I own 4 copies of Monopoly.
But yeah, and that's another point I've got on there. They've made so many different versions, which it's money making obviously, but it's clever. You've got you can get, there's a Derby version, a London version. There's the Game of Thrones version, Star Wars version.
As well as that, I've got a card game version. I've got Empire, in which it's sort of that one's a nice quick one, Monopoly Empire. It takes probably about 15-20 minutes, and you're just collecting franchises like Monopoly and things like that. And it's the first one just to build up the most franchises. So it's a nice quick one then. But then you've got cities in which you build up this massive city as opposed to just this one little hotel chain.
So yeah, exactly. So spin-off wise, it's got tons, and it's relatable. Everyone's played it. It's something you can talk. Like if you were on an awkward date, or you've met, you're talking to someone, a random stranger at work you don't really know much about. Monopoly is something you could bring up in conversation, and you would be able to have a conversation about it, and probably one where you'd both have a funny story to talk about of some sort.
Do you remember that time that my dad flipped at the table over because of Monopoly?
Well, I'd hope a stranger didn't know about your childhood memory with your dad.
Yeah, actually, me saying to a stranger, "Do you remember my family doing this?"
That's a good test. They say how creepy are, because they're like, "Yeah," you'd be like, "Wait." Monopoly Man looks cool as fuck with his tash. What I also love as well is, when you play Monopoly with other people outside your family,
yeah,
you realise that everyone's got slightly different rules that they've just made up and you just have to commit to whoever's family you're around or group of friends. You've got to commit to their rules.
Yeah,
they just make up stuff.
Some people put anything that's paid by tax underneath the. Is it the just visiting side of Monopoly, or is it the one opposite? By the way, it's one of those two, and if you land on there, you get all the money that people have paid for tax. But tax is technically meant to be going to the bank. And
that leads me on to my next point. It's a great advert of capitalism as well, and almost Wall Street, because whoever you talk to, and they talk about their experience playing Monopoly with their family, there's always one family member who's the dodgy banker.
Oh yeah.
Who steals money or tries to shortchange you when you get stuff.
I used to have a housemate that genuinely cheated because she, again, dodgy rules. She thought that was part of the game.
Cheating and not getting caught is part of the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, in the world of capitalism, property management, probably true.
Yeah. On the subject of sort of capitalism and all that, did you know they're planning on making a movie based on Monopoly?
I mean, they made a Pac-Man movie, so why the fuck not Monopoly, I guess.
It's rumoured to be starring Kevin Hart, and it's about a boy from Baltic Avenue on a quest to make a fortune.
Do you know what? There's an actor who just makes decent movies, constantly, Kevin Hart.
I wouldn't say decent. I'd say bang average movies, personally.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by decent. I think there's something impressive about that.
Consistent.
Yeah. You know what you're getting with a Kevin Hart film, don't you?
Yeah.
So like I say, I actually don't like Monopoly. I've not played it in a while because there's such an element of luck, and I think that's what makes it so frustrating, that you can have up this perfect plan, you can have hotels and all of them, and just no one seems to land on them. And you're like, what have I been doing this whole game?
Yeah.
But like I say, I think the fact that it's so relatable, that everyone can talk to it, that there's I think that makes it a top 5 board game. It doesn't necessarily have to be the best, but like I say, with all of these board games I've picked, bar 1 or maybe 2, this is the one that I've got the most memories attached to.
That's fair enough. On a recommendation on Monopoly, though, I would recommend anyone listening to this not to buy the actual version of Monopoly, but buy Monopoly Cheaters Edition, because that's actually a genuinely fun, fast-paced show. So you get given a bunch of cards to sort of cheat, and obviously steal from the bank's one of them, but one of them might be steal from someone else's properties, literally try and sneak it out of their hand and put it in front of you and stuff like that. And it's actually quite fast-paced, competitive, and angry as well. And my wife was surprisingly good at this, because me and my dad just spent the whole game arguing,
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt there.
Go on.
Your wife is very good at cheating on the cheating Monopoly game. Does that not worry you at all a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. Well, the reason was because she was a bit quiet and doing things subtly, whereas me and my dad were making big songs and dances about it. So you got penalised for cheating. So one of the things my dad would do is like for the cards where you had to steal someone else's property, he'd sneak my his property into my hand and then accuse me of cheating, and sort of get a bonus from that. And it was quite a sneaky little tactic, but it was actually quite a fun game, and I would actually recommend that version of Monopoly.
Nice one. Your number 4 then.
Well,
or 3.
I've already done my number 4, so yeah,
You're
my
on
number
3.
3. This might be the only one that you might have picked, because I'm pretty sure we played it together. And that's Codenames.
No.
Brilliant. We're not going to have any crossovers this week, folks. Right, so Codenames is probably the hardest game. It's one of the easiest games to play ever, but it's probably the hardest game ever to explain how to play. So I'm just going to read its description, because I'm hoping this might explain it better to everyone. So it's described as an easy party game to solve puzzles. The game is divided into red and blue. Each side has a team leader, and the team's leader's goal is to lead their team to the final victory. At the beginning of the game, there will be 25 cards on the table with different words. Each card has a corresponding position representing different colours. Only the team leader can see the colour of the card. The team leader should prompt, according to the words, let his team members find out the cards of their corresponding colours and find out all the cards of their own colours to win. Even reading that description, it sounds confusing.
Yeah, and I've played it.
Yeah. But do you agree? It's such a difficult game to describe how to play it. And then the moment you start playing it, it's so simple. It's difficult in the game itself, but the rules are so simple. So in essence, you've got a load of cards, and they might have different words on it, like mammoth, lamp, pen, closet, Athens, and stuff like that.
Wait, can I ask, by the way, had you made a list of random words for this, or was mammoth the first random word that came into your head?
Mammoth was genuinely, and then I looked across to my lamp, and then I looked across to my wardrobe.
So is there a mammoth in
but
there
mammoth
as well?
was the first word that I thought of for some reason. But yeah, so you got those random words, completely unrelated, and the idea is you want to get your teammates to pick your coloured words in the fewest guesses as possible. So I'd say to Mike to potentially link those words. I might say bedroom, because two of those
my
things...
first guess would be mammoth, obviously.
Because, yeah. But wardrobe and lamp you'd find in a bedroom.
Yeah.
So the idea is to sort of give clues that try and link as many of the words as possible. And that's the essence of the game, and that's it. It's really simple, but also it is one of the top party games of all time.
I play with you, and I think the word I'd use as well is addictive, because
yeah,
it's like it makes you think, doesn't it? Like you say, I'm trying to think of a word that would make you, and as well, I think the complexity of it. It's simple, but there's so many different game mechanics in. So, for instance, if I say bedroom and don't get it, they can the opposite team can guess our choices and sort of know words that we're going for almost.
Yeah, and sort of avoid using those ones.
Yeah, exactly. So like, okay, I know it's to do. It was clearly mammoth when he said bedroom, and Michael didn't get it. So I know now that mammoth isn't one of ours that I'm trying to guess.
Yeah.
So yes, it's super. Yeah, it is a nice one that.
Coincidentally, just on Board Game Geek, which I don't know if any of our listeners have heard of, but it's a big sort of website that has all the board games, and if you're looking for a particular type of board game, it's a good website to look at. It's created by this guy called Vlada Chivati.
Oh yeah.
That classic
wasn't
guy.
he a fullback for Chelsea at one point as well?
Such a prick. I'm actually about to be wrong on my theory, actually. I thought he created this other game, but he didn't. But Codenames has been the number one party board game of all time for so long, and it's it's on their box. It says number one party board game on Board Game Geeks, and I've just looked, and it's been dethroned by a game called Decrypto, which me and you have played, Mike. Do you remember it?
Is it the one we played in Matlock in that pub?
No, that's Linky. So Decrypto is very, very similar to Codenames, except you sort of have to break a code as opposed to Codenames where you got to sort of work out the words. Decrypto, you don't necessarily know what the words are going to be. and you have to break a code, and your other team has a chance to intercept it. But it's just interesting. It was on there for so
is that
long.
one we played at like Christmas a couple of years
Yeah,
back? Yeah, it was good, that.
It was quite a fun game. So there's another recommendation. Probably shouldn't be mentioning other games on our list, but I'd rank it about 7th or 8th on my list. So
Okay,
right.
Nice one. You ready for my number 3?
Your number 3, bring it on.
My number 3 is a game that we played together, and it's called Codenames. No, I'm joking. No, I don't think you've ever played this game. So, because of one of the games that's coming up further in the list that we've played together, me and Shauna, my fiance, there we go, corrected it this time.
Yeah.
And she does listen
How annoyed
to
was
these.
she the first time?
Oh yeah, she's raging. Like literally, I came downstairs and she was like, "You're a piece of shit," and I was like, "I know, but what have I done this time?"
She texted me thanking me for correcting me.
So yeah, we really enjoyed one of the games. So I really wanted a 2-player game because I think that is part of the problem. If you just live with like one friend or your partner, is obviously it's hard to have board games because a lot of them are 3 or 4 plus.
Yeah, Codenames, for example, like it says 2 to 8 players on the rules, but actually I would never go below 4.
No. And so I was searching for a lot of 2-player games that we could play. And this one is a spin-off to a board game. So the original board game, I think it's just called Seven Wonders. And this one's called Seven Wonders Duel.
I got it for Christmas this year.
Oh, amazing. Have you played it yet?
Not played it yet, no.
It's really good. And it's like a 30 minute game, I'd say. So you can have a quick go and then play again, or that's it. Nice to play in the evening. We like to take it away when we go away for the weekend or whatever. And essentially, it's a sort of deck builder. So essentially, there's more than 7 wonders in the game to pick from, but you're only allowed to have 7 in that game session. So I think there might be 10 wonders to pick from, but you have to pick 7 of those 10 to be in play.
There's only 7 wonders of the world.
Well, there's not. There's loads more. So there's the 7 ancient ones, which most people think.
Oh
of,
yeah,
but there's like the 7 natural
variations.
wonders. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you each have, I think in the game, I think you have 4 each your 7 wonders, but you need to build them, and you can only have a maximum of 7. So eventually, by the end of the game, one of you will have 4 wonders, the other person will have 3, and when you build a wonder, it will give you certain bonuses. So like one of them will give you an extra go, so you skip the partner's go and you go again, or some of them give you coins and things like that. And then essentially you go through 3 ages, so it's like your city. You build essentially a city, that's your deck. And you go through 3 different ages, so the technology gets better. And you've got lots of different ways to win, and there's lots of genuinely different strategies. So I've played it, I think we've played 5 times, we've kept a running score. I think Sean is winning now, 3-2, and I've tried to win once through military, which worked. I tried to win once through having the most technology, which you get from building sort of science buildings versus military buildings. Mm-hmm. I've tried another one that was just pure finance, just building things that brought me in as much money as possible. And yeah, it's really simple. Once you've played one go of it, that's it. You know it forever. It's not too difficult. And there's a really good video if you just type in 7 Wonders Duel how to play on YouTube. It talks through it. It's about 5 minutes. But yeah, like I said, I think my problem with board games sometimes, some of them are so cool, and it's like 5 to 8 players, and it's like, Jesus, the older I get, I don't think I even got 5 friends anymore. Never mind.
I think that's Lauren's biggest annoyance about all the games, because I've got so many that I just haven't played, because especially at the moment, but trying to get everyone together to play these games, like, that's actually really difficult. And
that's the problem, is it's not just 5 players, it's 5 players who are A, into board games, and B, are willing to take, for some of them, up to an hour maybe to learn, and that can be so off-putting, where it can be so difficult to learn it. Whereas everything I've picked so far, Settlers, Catan, Monopoly, 7 Wonders Duel, are all really, really simple, pick up and play. Which, for me, again, as someone who's not like a hardcore board gamer yet, I really appreciate. Yeah, I definitely. I think, when we find more people to play it with us, then I'll get there. But yeah, so a really nice one to have because it's 2-player and it's easy to play.
I think it actually ranks above in terms of overall ranking by people who've played it and rated it on Board Game Geek, it ranks higher than the original Seven Wonders.
For those who still not sure
it's one
about
of the top games of all time.
For those who are not sure about Board Game Geek, what about essentially it's just a website about board games, but they've got a ranking list, a bit like the IMDb Top 250. So it's just ranked by users, and so all of these are ranked in some way. And I think Seven Wonders Duel's my highest.
Yeah, you can pick different categories as well on there. So you can be it strategy or family or card game, and it tells you what the best one to be if you're whatever you're into. It's quite a good website.
The last thing I'll say about this game as well, I think the number one game on Board Game Geek, I've never played it, and the reason why is it sounds awesome, but it's about £150 for the board game, whereas this one on Amazon's about £25, £30, which I know is not cheap, but it's cheap in terms of a board game, I think, compared to what you can pay for some of the more complex ones.
Definitely. Well, I know Catan's like almost £50.
Yeah.
So...
Okay, your number 2.
Yes. So my number 2 is actually, because I know this one for a fact, the number 2 rated game on Board Game Geek. Not quite the number 1, because I don't think I've got the money to play this. But this is a game, and it's a legacy type game, which I'm 99% sure is going to be talked about even more at some point. And it's called Pandemic Legacy.
So do you just want to briefly explain... Because I had to get you to explain this to me, because I had no idea. Can you explain what Pandemic is first? Generally, the sort of the original.
You
game.
Definitely know what a pandemic is now, surely.
Jesus, that got dark quick. Can you explain what the Pandemic board game is, the sort of original one, and then explain what you mean by the Legacy edition? Because they're two separate games. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. So, Pandemic is a game in which a virus or a set of 4 viruses, should I say, are taking over the world, and it's up to you and your teammates to try and stop the virus in its tracks by finding a cure and then eradicating the whole virus as a whole. So each player has different sort of roles that they can do. So some of them might be a dispatcher who can move people to certain places across the board, which would normally take up a whole move to do with that other person doing it. So the whole idea is it's a big teamwork and a big sort of team game, co-op, that's the word I was looking for. It's a big co-op game. That's just a lot of fun to play, but I do quite find annoying because I do tend to find that the virus always wins, which seems a bit ominous, maybe. Keep it light.
Someone's had a shit day.
No, it always seems. I always get annoyed. I remember one of the last times I played it in that game session I said I brought Illusion for. We played it, and we were genuinely one move away from winning, and the virus beat us, and that was so defeating because we could see in our next move that we were going to win, but we physically ran out of time to win, and it was just really annoying. But this version spins it on its head. So the Legacy, there's 2 Pandemic Legacies, Season 1 and Season 2. I don't know what Season 2 is about, and I'm not going to spoil too much for those who want to play a Legacy game, because the whole idea is you don't know what's coming up next. But a Legacy game, in essence, it's your own board game that you're creating. So things will happen. So in Pandemic, as the virus grows, it might sort of mutate across the game, and various cities might be sort of broken down in sort of like due to rioting, and that city's now rioting, so you stick stickers on that city, so it's permanently changed.
So your board game, so if you played it with your group of friends and I bought a different new copy and played it with my group of friends, our boards would look different by the end.
Yeah, and it's basically they're played over. So Pandemic Legacy, it spans over a whole year, and you play each month, but if you lose one month, you replay that month again. So it can be anywhere between 12 to 24 game sessions, depending on how good or bad you are. And each sort of time that you win, something might happen good, but changes the board game next time. And if you lose, something might happen that changes the board game the next time. So I think the overall stories tend to be the same each gameplay, but there's slight differences that change everything completely. And it's just a really fun way of mixing the board game on its head, that you have got this unique story that you're telling.
Nice.
So me and 2 two friends from work and one of their girlfriends are playing this, and we started playing about a year and a half ago. But unfortunately, a real pandemic came in, and we've been unable to continue playing it. So I think we're stuck in July. We had a brief intermission, like where we was able to sort of meet up again, where lockdown was sort of stopped for a bit, in which we played, I think, about 2 months. But I keep on saying we really need to finish and then shout Jumanji at the end so everything goes back to normal, and we'll rewind back to early 2020, 2019 before the virus existed, and we won't play the game or speak of it ever again. It gets buried underground and that's it.
So just so we're aware, it's not China or Wuhan's fault, it's yours.
Yeah.
Good. I'd always suspected.
Right. So I'm going to say now, spoiler for anyone to play the game, who plays the game. I'll talk for about 20 seconds, and you can come back if you're planning on playing it.
What about people? Are you not spoiling for people who may want to play it after this?
Well, yeah. Spoiler for anyone who wants to play the game.
Okay, this is a bold choice. Let's see if it pays off.
It is a bold choice. It's not a massive spoiler, but we aren't doing very well in the game, and we got given an extra card because we lost a certain amount of games, and it basically said that New Zealand are doing amazing and they've basically eradicated the disease. And I thought that was so bizarre, and I was like, this is real life. This is genuinely why we need to finish off the game.
Amazing. I like that though as well, like... No, because if you fail a game, like, if you fail at a game of Monopoly or a game of the original Pandemic, let's say, you just restart from scratch and it's just the same game, but, different.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah. Whereas that is obviously things, if you keep losing, bad things happen to the next player as well. So it's nice though as well.
Well, it almost
if you
makes
spent
it
all that
harder.
money on the game that they've gone, right, you're doing shit, we're going to help you out a little bit. So it's not completely weighted against you and there you don't want to play it anymore almost. Because you're like, well, we know
I agree.
Because the board's too hard now. Or the map.
I think we've won and lost the same amount of games, but it's a very difficult game still. And because with co-op games, I do find they're always weighted slightly more towards, the board game winning, because it'd be less fun if you won every single game. It's got to be weighted slightly more harder for the board game to win more often.
I think as well, what's difficult, the more rules that you put into a board game and the more complex you make it, obviously, in theory, the more interesting it makes it. But it also reminds me of like online games like, I don't know, World of Warcraft or like MOBAs like Dota or League of Legends. Getting that balance is so hard. And in the early days of games, you find that something's a bit overpowered and something's too weak. So they, across the months and years, they sort of try and get it so it's perfectly balanced. So whoever or whatever you pick, you've got.
Yeah.
If you know how to use that character or whatever, you can do well. Whereas I think that's sometimes a problem because I've never played Pandemic, the physical board game, but I have played the Xbox Games Pass version.
Oh, yeah.
And so I played quite a few games with me and a friend, and because you can pick your character can be a specialist, can't they?
Yeah. So like I said,
and they always get power.
Off the top of my head is, yeah.
And I found that some were like so good, you're like, well, someone has to be that character because their power is so good. You're stupid not to. And then some we picked, and I was like, this is just nowhere near as good as this person's. So although there were choices, after you've played a few times, you're like, there's not really. There's 4 you need to pick almost to give yourself a good chance of winning.
Well, in Legacy, it's sort of, there's bits that come along that encourage you to change the characters, but like you say, we've sort of picked these characters being like they're what we consider to be the best and work together the best.
Yeah.
And we're too scared to change the characters, but actually, as I'm sure, like I said, the game changes everything. There might be situations where your character might die. That's not a spoiler. It's not happened to us yet, but it's made very clear from the beginning that can happen.
But that's quite cool, because you can pick a new one.
So you can pick a new one, but it's not happened to us yet. But I think there's sort of benefits of it happening.
Yeah.
But it's also negatives of it happening.
Well, because I guess you can get almost caught up in one playstyle if you're using the same thing.
Well, exactly, and it's like, we are losing quite often. It's like, should we mix it up slightly? I don't know.
Well, hopefully one of you dies and then we can find out.
Yeah, I'll let you know in 2 years when we're able to meet up again.
Right, my number 2 then?
Yeah, let's go for your number 2.
My number 2 might surprise you because I think, you probably know what my 2 and 1 are going to be now, particularly after what's already gone.
Yeah.
But you may be surprised by my number 2 pick, I'm not sure. In your head, have you got my number 2 pick and my number 1 in your head, the way around?
Yeah, but I'm not going to say them because it
no,
might
but
spoil.
I want you to tell me if you get it right.
Okay.
So my number 2, My number 2 is Betrayal Legacy.
Betrayal Legacy.
So, fuck me, this is going to be hard to explain. So, for those who don't
well,
know...
we've explained Legacy games at
so
the
the
very
same
least
thing.
now.
So you can, if you went to Amazon and typed in Betrayal board game, there's 2 options, 2 different games. One's Betrayal, the sort of core game. Well...
5, actually.
The 2 that I'm going to talk about. So one is Betrayal...
I do apologise for being pedantic.
Betrayal the core game, which is, like Monopoly or Pandemic or whatever. And the one that we play, so it was me, you, your wife, and my fiance, played Betrayal Legacy, which, like Pandemic, meant that you had to rip cards up, and things that happened in previous games got called up. So essentially, you play the game... I think it was about 13 times. There was sort of 13 chapters.
There's 13 chapters and a prologue.
Yeah, and the prologue, by the way, as a game that is quite complex, there's a prologue which is almost like a starter. So it gives you a tiny taste. So you learn the basic core mechanics, and then each session or chapter adds in more complex elements. But it doesn't feel difficult because you build with it your things. So like I say, Mike had played the original, and myself, Lauren and Sean hadn't. And we still, kept up fine. It probably did help having someone who played it, but I think we would have been fine without it anyway. And essentially, it's a mixture between a story, a role-playing sort of RPG, and a board game, which is really cool. So in Betrayal Legacy, there are these tiles, these squares, and each person gets to put 1 per turn, and it creates the board for you. So rather than being Monopoly where the whole board's already out, there's just a tiny amount. Essentially, this board you create is a house. So you've got the outside of the house, the bottom floor, the basement, and upstairs.
And it's always unique. No matter how many times you play it, it's always going to be unique because you don't know what's going to appear in different places.
And your character you pick can move so many squares, and you can upgrade them by getting items. So the item might make you a bit stronger, a bit smarter, a bit quicker, or a bit more intelligent. I've already said intelligent, haven't I? What's the other one? It improves your sanity because it's a horror game, essentially. So it's like playing 13 horror films. And like I say, what's really cool is everything happens is a story. So you play the prologue and you are a family member, essentially. And your character can die, and if they do die, then you have to play an ancestor of theirs. And what can happen is you can get items and make them an ancestral item where you put your family's crest as a sticker on it. And that means in a future game, so if I did that on game 2 and then on game 3 or 4 or 5 with one of my ancestors, if I pick that item up again, because it's my ancestral item, it's got an added benefit. And throughout it, essentially, this house is cursed and we keep coming back to it, and we go ahead in time and we make go all the way up into 2005, I think.
Yeah, I think it starts in like the 18 or 1700s.
Yeah. And like I say, so you're learning about the history of the house and this evil force. It's just sort of in the background at first, but then as the story goes on, we learn more about the history behind this evil force, and your history of game sessions affects it. So essentially, you can win or lose. So you're playing the game like normal, and eventually what will happen is someone will be made the betrayer.
This is the key concept to the game.
Yeah. And essentially then everyone who's not the betrayer has got their mission, which is to stop the betrayer, whichever that might be. And the betrayer's got a mission to... it might be to kill everyone, or it might be to get to a certain part of the board. It might be to create a summoning ritual, whatever it may be. And if you lose...
Yeah, all sorts of things they can do.
Exactly. And if you lose or win, so on game 1, if you lose, then you will be asked to play a certain game on game 2. Whereas if you win, you'll be asked to play a slightly different part of the story. So every time you win or lose affects the story. So our gameplay and our story that we learned and played would be different to yours.
I think there's 50 different different games to play in total, but you only play 13 of them. So that shows the variety that can be played throughout the game.
We played with 4 members, and I'd really, really recommend that. You can play up to 5, and I think that would have been fine. But I think
I wouldn't recommend less.
Yeah, I would not recommend less than 4. 4 felt like a really good number. And yeah, there's so many twists and turns. And like I say, if you like horror stories, and particularly horror films, and you love RPGs, it's the game for you. I can't recommend it enough. Like I say, it's like you're playing a film almost.
Yeah.
And it almost doesn't feel like a board game. It is, because it has all the mechanics of a board game, but it feels like, say, more like you're playing it. And what's good is there's a tiny bit of role playing, not enough that it's cringeworthy where it put you off playing it if you're not into that, but because you keep playing your character's legacy and you're talking about, oh, do you remember this is like this person who was in last time, or is this the ghost of this person?
Well, no, there's an example, and I don't think it's a massive spoiler for one of them. But if I did a maniacal laugh before each turn, then I got to move one step further each time and stuff like that. So you are kind of meant to be role playing as the character that you're portraying.
Yeah.
No, it's a great game, and the Betrayal, just normal edition, I'd recommend for anyone. So, like Mike said, it's all just based on horror games. There's 50 sort of games that you could potentially play in normal Betrayal, depending on what items come up when the betrayer is revealed. And it's just a really good, enjoyable, fun evening whenever you play it. Some games can... Go on, sorry.
You've played a lot more board games than me.
Yeah.
And you didn't... Am I right in saying that you didn't pick this for your top 5 because you knew I would and had played a lot less games than you?
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
Would this have been your number 1 if you could have picked it without me?
It would have easily been my one or two.
But comfortably 1 or 2?
Comfortably 1 or 2.
Awesome.
Right.
I think we're on to honourable mentions, aren't we?
We are, yes.
So you're going first at the minute, aren't you? So your honourable mention or mentions?
The first sort of weighted board game, if that's the word we're going to go for, or adult, mature board game that I ever played was a game called Zombies with 3 exclamation marks.
Okay.
So...
That bothers me.
Say again?
That bothers me. You can't shout 3 times, you know.
Zombies!
That felt more like 2.
So yeah, basically what you do, there's sort of different variations that you can play amongst the games. So you can play as the zombies and stuff like that. But the core concept is you play as one character, and you play, like me and Lauren played it together. It can be played with sort of 2 to 5 players. And yeah, so you play as a survivor trying to escape the zombie apocalypse. And much like Betrayal, you're sort of moving your character along and revealing a tile, and you're trying to get to the helipad first. And it's the first person to the helipad that wins. But then your opponent sort of allowed to move zombies a certain amount of times to block you as you're going along. And it's just an enjoyable fun. You can sort of role play it if you want to. And there's sort of various different variations of the game, but it's a quick, easy game to play.
Have you got it?
And the game, yeah, I've got it, and it surprised me that Lauren enjoyed it as well.
Oh, actually, I want to play this one.
Yeah, I'd say it's quite badly made. This is probably something that gives it negative points, because unlike most board games where it's like card tiles, the tiles are almost paper thin, and they're quite flimsy. And me and Lauren made the stupid idea of playing it outside. And it might have been a bit windy, and we kept on losing pieces continuously. But it's still an enjoyable game. But it was one of the first games that I played, probably in my second year of uni.
Nice one. Good honourable mention. Any more, or is that it?
Well, shout out to stuff like Cluedo and Game of Life, just because they're games that get anyone into board games, aren't they?
Yeah. I've got
just me saying shout out to Cluedo and Game of Life.
Like it's a real person.
Yeah.
Like Cluedo's there going, oh, cheers, Mike.
They mentioned me!
My honourable mention, again, I'm keeping the theme of just doing one, or just talking about one in detail of what I mention. But if we're shouting out old games, Payday, what a game.
Big up to Payday.
What a game.
I loved it. You always used to get like a big payday for it being your birthday, didn't you?
What?
You used to get money for it being your birthday on Payday when it came around to that point in the game.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought you were making a joke, and then I was like, no, that is actually a thing.
I used to love Payday. It's probably one of the games that I played the most as a kid.
Yeah, I think it's like nowhere near as popular or talked about as like your Monopolies, your Cluedos, or Game of Life, but I think it was better than them.
But this isn't your honourable mention, this is a shout out.
Yeah. My honourable mention is, I think this counts, I'm sure it does, chess.
Yeah, it counts.
It's
a really shit choice, but it counts.
There's a really good... You uncultured swine.
I haven't watched the Queen's Gambit yet.
Well, about to say the Queen's Gambit. I think chess has had a big rise in popularity recently because of that, and more people are playing it, which is cool. Chess was one of those games that I thought I was sick at because I could beat like my 4 friends that I played at between the ages of like 10 and 14. And then when I realised I played anyone with like, and I'm not talking about anyone who was like competition level, I just mean someone who was above competent. I realised, I am dreadful at chess. I'm just good against people who are shit at chess. But yeah, I just think for something so simple, like you know what I mean, we're talking about games like Betrayal, Legacy, Pandemic Legacy, that are quite complicated. Something that's so simple but so complex. You know what I mean? Books, thousands of books been written on them. And one of my favourite sort of lines, I remember someone telling me about it. One of my mate's dads was, I think he taught me how to play it, and he said this phrase that's probably super cliche about chess, but it's like 5 minutes to learn, years to master, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's so true, isn't it? You have to be. It's not
absolutely.
that hard to get, but it's so hard to become even just competent. Never mind good.
Yeah. So I've got an anecdote about chess.
Okay.
Is that how you lead into anecdotes? You say that you've got an anecdote?
I think
That's a professional way of
normally,
doing
I
it.
don't know. I think it'd be it's the same reason people don't go, so I've got a joke about this.
Anyway, so I got an anecdote about chess. I did used to play chess at Scouts. I remember competing in a few tournaments there when I was quite a bit younger.
Hello, little story I didn't know about you. Remind me to take the piss out of you. 1 Scouts, 2 chess competitions. Let's go.
I never won. I was never great. And this next story goes to show it. So, as a teacher, I wonder what your opinion on this is. Mm-hmm. But I once got a lunchtime detention from my French teacher for, I'm pretty sure I told one of my friends to shut the fuck up. Or I asked him what the fuck was he doing. I was about 14, 15.
Little rebel.
I know, right? It was probably my only detention, though. So I got a lunchtime detention. I arrived to the lunchtime detention, and the French teacher thought actually the lunchtime detention wasn't enough for what I did. So he said to me, genuinely true, play chess against, because it was a chess club that I ended up having to go to. Well, it was during the lunchtime. The chess club was during the lunchtime detention. So
and the same person was running it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to go to that, and he said play against this person. And if you lose, you've got an after-school detention. If you win, you can go. Mm-hmm. And I lost and got an after-school detention.
Yeah, harsh.
Yeah, I felt so.
Harsh.
Like, just give me the after-school detention if you feel that's what's needed.
Yeah, it sounds like a dick.
Oh, he was.
It's a bit power trippy.
It was my least favourite teacher. Anyway, that's my little anecdote and story about chess.
And how you got an after-school detention.
Yeah.
Bet your parents were so disappointed.
Probably, I had 2 after-school detentions. I was a goody two-shoes me. And my other one was probably about 2 weeks prior in PE for telling this exact same friend, or asking this exact same friend, what the fuck he was doing.
So both were swearing?
Both of us saying pretty much the exact same thing to the same person.
That's so weird, because I wouldn't... you're not like a massive swearer.
No, exactly. I think I was obviously going for a random stage in my life.
Rebellion.
Apparently. Yeah.
Do you know what it was? I reckon you were acting out because your parents didn't let you play Monopoly. You were like, fuck these guys. Does your mum and dad listen to this, by the way?
My dad said he might listen to others that weren't so nerdy, so no.
Well, that's all right. Then he won't know that you were acting out because of his poor parenting not letting you play Monopoly.
Exactly.
On to the big one then, number 1.
Number 1. Right. I was literally looking, it's like, what is my number 1? And I was staring right at it. My number 1 is a game that I only recently discovered during lockdown. Mm-hmm. And I've not actually played the physical version of yet. I've only played it on Tabletop Simulator on Steam.
Oh my god, I really hope, and also don't hope it's a game I'm thinking you're going to pick.
Oh, you do hope it's this, because it deserves far more credit than it's due. It's such a dull game when you describe it now that I think of it. The description on Board Game Geek is attract a beautiful and diverse collection of birds to your wildlife reserve.
Yeah, and like I say, not birds as in like, southern, let's get some birds round. No, actual like avians. Is that the word?
Yeah. So it's a game called Wingspan, and it's absolutely phenomenal. I don't know what it is about it, because like I say, the description is just awful. It's done by the same people, and I don't know if anyone's heard of this game, but you might have done, Mike. It's done by the same people who've done Scythe.
Yes, I love. Well, I've never played that, but I love the sound of it.
It's one of the top board games of all time.
So is it? Do you collect them?
So yeah, you collect them. So it's all you do is, so you're collecting stuff like, you want to attract the bird, so you need stuff like grain, or there's different items that you can collect, which are the different foods. So you're collecting different foods that allow you to buy the bird on the screen, and then that allows you to then put it down in front of you, and that's all it is. And then it's there's sort of big things to sort of collect. So it's the most people with a certain bird from a certain continent, or various things like that, and you get more points, victory points, for collecting them. And again, it sounds so dull, but when you're actually playing it, it's really interesting. It's quite fascinating, because all the birds have got facts and figures about them. It tells you what their wingspan is, hence the name of the game, and it's just an oddly fun game. And I never ever.
Do you know what? It sounds quite peaceful in comparison.
I think that's
to
what
some
it
of
is.
the
It's
more...
just a nice, charming game. It's very strategical. Yeah, strategical is the word I'm looking for. I didn't think that word existed the moment I said it. But it's charming in the way it does it. It's not aggressive. You're not fighting over anything. And like, I remember when me and my friends were playing it, like when new birds were coming out, was all hovering over him, learning the facts about him, and being, oh, so that's that bird, and it's from there. And it's just an interesting game.
Did you pick the word hovering on purpose there?
No, but I'm glad I did.
Well, other than collecting them, sort of like Pokemon, can you? I'm assuming you can't battle them, but like,
no, you don't battle them in the slightest. Therefore,
like top trumps though. You know what I mean? You can sort of battle them with, like, I don't know, wingspan or something. Is there anything like that, or is it literally just collect as many as you can?
It's collect as many as you can from certain different points, and it's like they can lay eggs, and you collect them. So each turn, sort of, you can only do a certain number of actions. So that could be collect food, buy a bird, place down a bird, lay eggs, and various things like that. But there are some birds that allow you to do certain things, such as like eagles or hawks, for example, might kill smaller birds. So if you flip over a card and it's a small enough bird, it'll attack it, and you sort of get a point for that.
Here we go. Okay, when we play this, I'm just going to get these big birds.
That's a very minuscule part of the plot. I think I probably, in the numerous times I played it, I've done that about once in the game. But one of my friends used to do it all the time, so it depends what sort of strategy you're going for.
Says a lot about we can psychologically analyse the person based on their playstyle.
Apparently, one of the great things about it is there's a dice tower that's effectively a bird feeder that you put the dice in, and it rolls down this little bird feeder.
What? Two things. One, whereabouts is it on the board game ranking?
20.
And two, how much does it cost on Amazon?
Oh, I don't know that question. Let's have a quick Google. We'll cut out this little bit now. Sing amongst yourselves.
No, I want to keep it in. I want you to do that thing where people are typing, they're like Amazon.
Now you're doing it. I'm literally spelling out wingspan in my head. But obviously, I have to spell out wingspan in my head to be able to do it.
Great name for what it is.
Yeah, this is great listening as well, because I've just gone onto the American website, so now I need to go back out and go onto the British one. £60.
Fucking hell. Right, okay. Is it a £60 worth game?
Yes, I would recommend it.
Are you considering buying?
Oh yeah, it's always been one that I've been considering buying all the time. Honestly, like I say, I've only played it in lockdown. I've only played it virtually, but it's still the same game virtually as it is in real life, and it's absolutely fantastic.
We probably did have a random follower called Jonathan who just heard you on one pick and has left us forever. So thank you for that.
No, my number two, both my 1 and 2. Are in the top 20 on Board Game Geek, so that shows how it goes. It was only a game released in 2019, so it's not been out for that long.
Yeah, I think it just goes to show, doesn't it, though, that at the end of the day, game mechanics are more important than the, I guess, branding, which
Absolutely.
is ironic because my number one pick has got a huge,
yeah,
well-known brand attached to it.
Your number one pick, then?
So my number one pick is Harry Potter Battle for Hogwarts.
It's a great game.
Now, if you are a Harry Potter fan, or your partner is, or brother, sister, whoever, buy it now. It's worth every penny for just a Harry Potter fan. It's worth it alone.
I would say if you're not necessarily a Harry Potter fan, it's not the best one you can get of this type of theme. But it's probably the best one that we've played.
Yeah, as I say, I disagree. But if you're a Harry Potter fan, easy, you'll love it.
Yeah.
What it is a deck builder game. So it plays through all 7 books / 8 movies. And you start with year 1 and you build your way up, and each year you go up and you complete, the game gets a little bit more difficult and they start to add in some different rules and elements. But essentially at its heart, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
There are Harry Potter villains. So for year 1, it is Crabbe and Goyle, it is Draco Malfoy, and it is Professor Quirrell. And essentially you need to beat one, they go, and then the next one appears. And at the start of each turn, the bad guys have certain powers that are there. So for instance, Crabbe and Goyle's power, I think, is every time a card makes you discard a card from your hand, you lose a life.
Yeah.
And the aim is to beat these before they take away all your lives. And not your lives as a character, but the lives of the game, I guess. And that comes from each turn you draw a Dark Arts card, and that could just be lose a game life. And once you lose game life and you get through all of them, then you fail. And what you do is you...
Sorry, I'm going to stop you. It's not game life, it's dark marks.
Dark marks, there you go. If they put a dark mark on the board, if you get so many, you lose. And you can essentially buy more cards with in-game currency, and you can buy things like Professor Dumbledore, you can buy famous items like the Elder Wand, you can get lots of other allies from so Hagrid, Dobby, all things like that, and they essentially can give you things like lightning bolts, so you can cause damage to the villains. They can give you potions that will give you hearts, life towards your character, or you can get really good cards that take away the dark marks. And that's essentially it. Like I say, it's a deck building card, so you pay to get your deck better, it makes you more powerful and more likely to beat the villains. And as the years go up, it gets a little bit harder each time. And that's quite nice, actually, because we played this, didn't we, us four?
Yeah.
And we completed year 1, I think, first time. Completed year 2 first time. I think we failed year 3 once, maybe. And then year 4, and then after that, we would fail 2 or 3 times, perhaps, until
I remember
we
6. We failed so many times.
And that's what's nice. It's not too easy, and as well as the years went up, the game sessions were longer, because you could play year 1, I think, in 30 minutes flat, really, maybe less. But then when we did year 7, I think it was over 2 hours before we completed it.
As a review, though, in terms of number of players, I've heard from people, if there's 2 of you, the game's far too easy. It was completed really quickly from what I've heard. But then 4 of us, I think, was the perfect number to play this game.
It was. However, that being said, Shauna and I play this as a 2-player game.
Mm-hmm.
And we still really enjoy it.
Oh,
and what we'll do is just make it a little bit more difficult for ourselves. So we'll pick... we'll try and, for instance, when we do the deck building side, we'll try and pick things that would fit the character more than what's the best card available to buy.
Yeah. So, for example, you wouldn't pick like Fred and George if you was playing as Harry. You'd pick them only if you was playing as Ron. Yeah,
exactly. So we try and pick things that you can make it a little bit more difficult for yourself if you want to. But yeah, so I agree, it is easier with 2 than 4, but Shauna and I replay this game quite regularly. I'd say at least once every couple months, and still really enjoy it.
No, I agree. It is a great game, to be fair. I was surprised at how good. Because, I picked another deck building game in Munchkin. The difference between Munchkin and this one is Munchkin is against everyone. this is a co-op game, so it's quite fun in that regard. You're sort of helping each other out, but not helping each other out.
And that's helped Shauna get into games a bit more. She's not that bothered about board games, but I think because it was co-op, it takes away that stress or like I'm like ridiculously competitive to the point it's a bit of a problem. So Shauna hates playing competitive games with me because she basically says I turn to an arsehole, which is probably true. So it's quite nice to have a game where you're playing against the game rather than playing against each other.
Yeah. As an honourable mention to this game as well, they've also got a great sort of dueling version of it in which you play against each other, and it's exactly the same game and setup, except you are against each other, and that is another good version of this one. They do make some great spin-offs using this mechanic.
And I think as well sometimes with such a big IP, because it uses the Harry Potter film images on there. So the quality, by the way, is fantastic. It looks, the box, the cards, the quality is fantastic.
Yeah, it looks like a sort of case, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And it keeps that sort of movie tie-in, I guess. Like I say, it's like Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson and Rupert Grint as not just a drawing of them. And sometimes with that, they're rushed out to make money off the back of the films.
Yeah.
But this has been really well thought out and really well developed.
No, I agree. It is a good game, and I really would recommend it. For me, it's not one of my top games, but I would say easily top 10.
Yeah.
So not top 5, but top 10.
I think one of the reasons why it's number 1 for me is because I'm a geek anyway. I like massively into fantasy and into RPG games. I was always going to like role-playing games. Board games. So I was always going to get into it. I knew, as soon as I played Settlers of Catan, I knew, I'm going to enjoy this. And learn about more board games. Whereas Shauna was never into the concept of it and idea of it. So this was a great gateway game so if you are someone who knows you'll like board games and you worry that your friend, your family members, your missus, your fella, whoever, won't be into it, this is a great board game to try and hook them in, especially if they like Harry Potter. But I would say, even if they're not the biggest Harry Potter fan, the actual deck building, just the game mechanics are fun.
Yeah, no, I'd agree.
And I've played with someone who's not a huge Harry Potter fan at all. I wouldn't say he hated it, but he's not a huge fan. But he still just enjoyed the game itself anyway and got quite involved in it.
Yeah. No, great choices.
Are you happy that we've done this one? Because obviously you love board games.
I do love board games, and there's so many I could talk about still. I've got, in my head, when we was discussing all this, I thought of another one that I don't know myself, but it was another great game based on another famous IP, and that's, is it Spartacus Blood and Sand or Blood and something?
Yeah, based on the TV show, I take it.
Yeah, so it's based on that, and what it is you collect gladiators throughout the game. So you're the different sort of houses or whatever they're called in the TV series, or back in the era, should I say. And you collect gladiators and servants and stuff, and you bid for them at an open market and bid for weapons in them, and then the next stage would be that you bid to host the next fight. And then if you win to host the next fight, you pick 2 gladiators to fight in the next one. And obviously one of them might win and one of them might lose, but you place bets against it, and then it turns into like an RPG type game where you're sort of moving across this board, these 2 players, to fight each other and use their combat. And it's a really interesting game with a few different mechanics added into it.
Buy it on Amazon now, we're playing
it. It's one of those games that I'm pretty sure is very difficult to get hold of these days.
Yeah, I imagine because it wasn't the most popular TV show. It did well, but it's not like Game of Thrones level, that they probably didn't make a huge amount of the board games.
No.
And then when they're popular, or when they're actually good games, people don't sell them on.
I've literally just Googled Spartacus board game on... I say Googled. I've searched Amazon for Spartacus board game, and it's not on there.
So we're going to have to eBay it.
Yeah, it does look like it. But another game, if anyone ever comes across it, would recommend it.
I think as well, with the pandemic and with like so many people working from home and your screen time going up, I think getting into board games now is a perfect time. I think it's a nice way to get away from it. And again, having living a busy life as a teacher, I don't always spend as much time with Shauna as perhaps I should do. So to have a board game where you have to put your devices down, there's no TV on. Although we do like to put Harry Potter films on in the background and play Battle for Hogwarts because why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite nice to be able to spend that sort of quality time. And,
I agree.
play
It's just
a game
nice
for an hour.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to when my unborn child currently, but soon to be born child, grows up, and I've got this massive collection, and sort of we sit down as a family and play it all together instead of sitting down in front of a TV. You've actually got to use your brain with some of these games as well, so it can be quite challenging, and sometimes like Wingspan, it's educational. So, yeah.
Big question. Are you going to be a good parent to your child and let them play Monopoly?
I have got, like I say, I've got 4 versions, so probably yes.
Next week then, do we want to make any promises, or do we want to leave the
Let's
listeners
not
in
make any
suspense?
promises. We don't like to sort of break our promises.
Yeah,
Or do
it
we?
once, let's try
Maybe
to
that
do
can
it.
be our thing. Let's just make up what we're going to do next week. Okay, next week we're going to do our
top 5 dog breeds.
Oh, I was going to pick lampshades.
Yeah, at the same time. I
Top
think
5
they fit
dog
really
breeds
well.
and top 5 lampshades. Can you tell I'm looking at a lamp right now? That's twice this has come into the conversation.
I'm about to say, I feel like
I
feel like your
least
number one
imaginative person
lampshade's
ever.
going to be a mammoth.
Right, thanks for listening. Again, as always, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Mammon Podcast, and you can also send any messages to us on mammonpodcast@hotmail.com.
Yeah, we'd love to see people on there. Like I say, we do genuinely want to get interaction. It's really nice to see people's top 5 and to try and do ones that are people's suggestions. So shout out to who for this suggestion again?
It was Charlie.
Charlie. Shout out to Charlie as well for picking top 5 board games for us, and you've made Mike a very happy man.
Yeah, because I enjoy this topic.
All right, see you all next time.
All right, cheers, bye.